the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
For another vetting room ho yen na nitua ensema ekoso a chese e ba be great banter between both sides, the minority and the majority. Emma e drew baby krano minority no e decide say na sade omum ebepie emma pampa wonom e work out. Na enura say ye hwe bia say de nyina yetie ye no. Ye hu say anytime a minority leader honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin ebe take floor bia a wokasa bia no. Na the majority leader honorable Ayariga interjected. Na akwese onu mum no pese o kire honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin what to say and what not to say. Meanwhile, now we chairman of the vetting committee. It was rather Bernard Ahiafo ono and the chairman of the committee. Now in all those things, majority caucus in parliament led by Ayariga akwa po mu asem akwa asem for sign e dia ba na we kra e ba no e so chain de enu e course vetting room hono. Majority caucus in parliament are filing motion for contempt of parliament against the minority leader honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin. Now right after the filing of the motion against the minority leader, NHS say the legal counsel for the minority caucus in parliament honorable John Dako ababonte be ka kire Ayariga say when the man is out to me say so be kasa e vetting committee so and as a parliamentary appointment committee bia so a e wa bra enye ono Ayariga and the chairman of that committee na onu mom enetimi kire sa nipa no what to do and what not to do. E ka be say NDC for buy no democracy no omo say no kabima min kabia mamu no and we all witness they say omo can minority caucus no omano tum they didn't allow them to express their views and on ne honorable John Dako e dey nsem air to.
I think people are just speculating, obviously because of all the issues. But we had every intention of appearing and asking questions. And so we went prepared. I had read some of the judgments of the learned acting Chief Justice. I had seen his profile and I prepared my questions. So were my other colleagues. We were ready to go, and it's just unfortunate that when we got there, the majority leader decided that he would take over the job of the chairman of appointment committee and decide who speaks and decide who can say what. He said that under his watch, he is not going to allow the Venerable Osahene Afenyo Markin to, in his view, breach the rules. And I'm asking myself, really, you are just an MP like us. You just happen to be a majority leader. Who gave you the power to decide which words to use in parliament? Who gave you the power to decide who speaks? Who gave you the power to decide which words are right words for members of parliament?
Spectacle was one that came up as a result of the kind of heckling that went about when the minority leader was making his preliminary remarks. Now, this has been the convention. It's not provided for in black and white in the standing orders, but by convention and by Order 268 of the standing orders of Parliament, chairpersons have certain latitude to operate and to give discretionary, opportunities to members and so on and so forth. So typically when you go to a committee meeting, opening remarks will be made by the chairperson, and then he will yield to the ranking member for the ranking member to also make preliminary comments. Sometimes even vice chair and then the deputy ranking are also given an opportunity to make preliminary remarks, but mostly is the chair and then the ranking.
So this is it's not us of rights, but it's a privilege.
It's something that we do all the time. And then in Parliament, we are guided by the Constitution, our standing orders, and the time-tested conventions. Okay. All right? And some of these are documented even in writings. Order 268. Order 268 is the general functions of the chairperson of the committee. So it is in the spirit of that the minority leader had to also make his preliminary remarks. Now, the rules also provide for right of rebuttal. If something is said by one person that the chairperson thinks okay, or maybe another member, objects to, you can come under a point of order, which is provided for under our rules, order 122, I believe, and then you state the reason for your what's the name, point of order. So in this instance, it appears to have been a premeditated attempt by the distinguished member of parliament for Boku and leader of the house.
But he said Central. Boku Central.
Boku Central. Well, he said it himself that he was ready to object to everything that the minority leader says. So it supposes a certain premeditation that I am coming to derail your thoughts. I'm not going to allow you to speak. He said it himself. It came out of his own mouth.
Well, not exactly.
He said that I'm going to object to everything that you say.
No.
That I don't, like, more or less, you see, it's okay for you.
That's not what he said.
It's okay for you to object, but you see, and the reason why he was doing so is because he had read the minority leaders, statements. You understand? The minority leader shared the statement with the chairperson in keeping with good practice and not to spring a surprise on anybody. He said, look, I have a statement and this is my statement. Take a look at it. And the chairperson, Honorable First Deputy Speaker, said, oh, no problem. I'll allow you to make your statements as ranking. Then, the majority leader, walks in and insists that statement should not be made. You understand?
So you're still explaining.
We didn't really have any issue.
So you're still explaining to us why you boycotted.
You understand?
And so there's background to why you boycotted it. Yes.
So the reason why we had to walk out, and yesterday was not a boycott.
Okay.
Because we participated in the process. We started the participation, the discussion, and at some point, because of the level of heckling, and we did not want to create a scene again, like what happened sometime in March or so, when we had to end up in fisticuffs because there was major disagreements in the vetting room, and so we didn't want to create any scene and then to mar the vetting of the acting Chief Justice, and for even the news to go out that when the Chief Justice was being vetted, there was massive fights in the vetting room. We did not want him to leave the place with that kind of. And so the best thing for us to do was to stage a walkout in protest and to register that we do not support his appointment, his nomination as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. So yesterday, the fault can only be blamed on the majority. And I could see the difficulty with which the chairman of the committee, the First Deputy Speaker, was going through. Because he was dealing with his leader. He is First Deputy Speaker, but Ayariga, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Boku Central, is the leader of the majority. So he had his limitations. When your leader is doing that amount of heckling, you find it very difficult to rein him in. And so, it was difficult for him to even have done anything contrary to what he was doing. And in order for civility to prevail, in order for us to allow the system to proceed. Of course, yesterday when I made my intervention was to the effect that, look, the chairman should prevail on the leader of the house to allow the minority leader to flow, so that when he's done, he has every opportunity to rebut paragraph by paragraph and to also put it on record that you said A, B, C, D, Z, and this is our position. And we take objection, we disagree with you, and that is the beauty of democracy. Look, the only symbol of democracy that you can see currently is parliament. During the military regime, you had the executive and you had the judiciary, but there was no parliament. You understand? You had the district assemblies, every other government agency was functioning except the Electoral Commission and Parliament. And so there's a very good reason why. So this is a place, and democracy thrives when the minority the opposition gets an opportunity to air their views on issues. Agree or disagree, but you should be able to allow us to have our say. And then you can have your way. Especially when you have supermajority. What is the fear? You understand? So whatever it is that we couldn't even say during the vetting, when it comes to laying the report of the public appointments committee on the floor of parliament, we can contribute to the debates. And we can say anything that we couldn't say there. We can still say it there.
Okay,
so how long can you prevent us from saying all of these things?
Fair enough. But
you understand?
I also heard, I'll bring it shortly, but I also heard Ayariga state, and he stated very clearly yesterday when he intervened that the rules of the House, which is your standing orders, because you just said, look, in Parliament, it's three things. The first two are documents, Constitution, standing orders. Those ones are coded and are codified. That's a document.
That's right.
But there are also conventions, isn't it?
That's right.
The time-tested ones. But I heard him say that here at parliamentarians, you know what you're supposed to know, what to say, where to say it, and how to say it. Okay, and that he, as majority leader, was not going to allow Afenyo Markin to break the rule. So as far as concerned, was breaking the rule. So is it your contention that he should have allowed Afenyo Markin to land or to finish breaking the rule before he draws, and I'm using breaking the rule here in quote, before he draws his attention that what you're saying is not the right forum? And in fact, he goes ahead to say that, look, if you had organized a press conference outside Parliament, right? You put a media together, you can describe the Chief Justice as a disputed one, as whatever. You can even go and criticize the committee that looked into the Tokono matter, use whatever language or whatever term. That's fine. But for as long as you are here, vetting, this forum, the certain things are not to be said. How do you respond to what Ayariga said?
So, Honorable Ayariga was referring to Order 1237.
Absolutely.
About the content of speech.
Yes.
So the conduct of the Speaker, the Chief Justice, members of Parliament, and so on and so forth. Now, what the minority leader was doing, he was not talking about the conduct. He was not talking about the conduct of somebody. He was talking about an action that has been taken already, and this is our view. You understand? Oh. So at some point, at what point can you make your view known? Look at the choice of words. And the minority leader was at pains to explain over and over again the context within which he said what he said.
What is the context of a disputed nominee?
No, so that is the view that the minority has taken. We are not dealing with his conduct. If you say somebody is disputed, is there not a dispute?
Okay,
there's a dispute.
Fine.
Okay,
when you also say
there's a dispute about his
when
nomination.
You also say that the work of the committee that looked into the Tokono case did so in an opaque fashion. That's one.
That's right.
And also say that the outcome of that decision, of the outcome of the work of that committee, is a travesty of justice.
Yes.
Isn't that an attack on the committee, for that matter? Gabriel Paman himself was there. Scott Paman, he was there. He was there during the.
Let me take you to Article 1468.
Okay.
And if you permit me, I'll read. It says that all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera. In camera. What is it supposed to mean? In camera means that it is not open to the general public. It's not open to journalists. And so if I describe something like this as opaque, what's wrong with it? The Constitution itself is saying that it should be opaque. You shouldn't be able to see what is going on there.
But why?
If I describe it as opaque, but opaque is just
why state something which is not a fault of anybody?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So he's describing what the Constitution itself says. He said that hearing must be opaque.
Why was it necessary?
You get what I'm saying?
I understand you, but I'm saying why was that necessary?
No, but he's just saying it for the records. That yes, the procedure is opaque. The Constitution itself says that it must be opaque.
Okay.
And everybody agrees. Okay. So even when the Chief Justice went to court to raise issues about what was transpiring at the hearing, the court said that what you are bringing to this court is bad. The court is bad from entering into what is going on at that place. So you said that you were intrusively searched. Your husband was not allowed in, or whoever was not allowed in. They searched your bag. They searched so many things. We were not there. You understand? And that is because the process is supposed to be opaque.
Finally.
And so that description is apt. It only goes to confirm what is in the Constitution. Okay. In camera.
All right.
It's not in public.
Let me ask you this final.
You understand?
Final question to you before Adam comes in.
And if he says that
the objection.
Look, so please let me just make this point.
Okay.
If he says that the process that took place is a travesty of justice, I mean, Mahama Ayariga had every right to set the records, because what Minority Leader was saying is that we had 3 petitions before Justice Tokono. You had gone through 1 petition and you were given a date to come for the hearing of the 2nd and 3rd petition. Now, by the twinkle of an eye, the committee was before the president to present the reports. You understand? So, what happened to the 2 other petitions? And she said that when you did the prima facie hearing, and you were able to establish that there was a prima facie case for her to go and make, she was hoping to get the reports of the prima facie hearing so that you segregate the issues. Which issues is she going to respond to? Which issues made it past the prima facie threshold, and which issues did not make it past?
Where
she didn't get that response.
That's fine. Where?
Yes.
In Article 146.
Yes.
Makes these demands.
Which one?
The fact that you ought to show to somebody against whom an application or a petition has been filed, yes, the basis for establishing a prima facie case. Where in Article 146 does it say you should do that?
You know, when you read the Constitution,
okay,
you must read the Constitution as a whole.
All right.
And if you have a community reading of the Constitution under Article 146, and you also look at Article 23, and you look at Article 19, it's a mixed bag of giving somebody a fair hearing. And giving somebody a fair hearing includes ability for the person to process documents that are going to be used against you. It should give you an opportunity to cross-examine witnesses. It should give you reports that has been made against you. Whatever it is that concerns you, you must be given a copy. Now, even long after the committee presented their report to the president that said that she should be removed from office, up to date, Justice Tokono doesn't have a copy of the document that indicted her. Now, judgments at the courts, when you go to court and there's a judgment against you, you are given a copy. When you appear before a commission of inquiry, a committee of inquiry, and you are indicted, you are given a copy. You understand? That is what fair hearing is all about. To date, Justice Tokono doesn't have a copy. So, it's not as if everything must be provided for under Article 146, but if you read together Article 23, Article 19, Article 146, you have a fair idea that she is entitled to be given, In fact, there are instances where you even give the person all this opportunity and the opportunity is not usable. It is not seen to be fair hearing. So you must give the person a usable opportunity. Give the person every opportunity to vindicate his or her rights, so that when you take a decision, the person cannot say that, yes, I didn't get the opportunity to see the report, I didn't get the opportunity to cross-examine my witnesses, and so on and so forth. So those are the things that we are talking about.
Okay.
And you understand? Okay. So yes, Article 146, all right, litigation must come to an end at some point, but you should give Justice Tokono opportunity to go home and sleep and know that I've exhausted all my remedies, and it is in the interest of the Republic that litigation must come to an end.
All right.